Here we go. Uh-oh. Hmm? Hmm? Hello, Dr. Zemini. Hello. Hello, people. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all. Hello, Julie. Mark, there are no cats today. The kitty has not shown up for the stream. We are not going to wait for the kitty. This is not a union shop. This is not a union channel. If he doesn't show up, the show will go on without him. This is a scab shop. It's not a union shop. Mr. Clinton doesn't come on, we say fuck him and figure out a way to make the show work without him. No iPad for Christmas, KM. I'm out of greenies, actually. Merry Christmas. Disappointed the tree is not decorated with Apple components. Oh, I just saw a kitty come by there. Is there a kitty? Is there a kitty that wants to come up here? A kitty? Yeah. When was the last time you ate McDonald's? Probably like 15 or 17 years ago. McDonald's is trash. Don't eat that shit. Don't eat that shit. Yes, Jack. Yes. Let's see. Lewis, are you an influencer? I don't think so. I think like influencers are people that companies contact on a regular basis to have sponsor their products or services because they influence people. I don't think I influence shit. I think if I did, I'd have companies contacting me other than, people pretending to be Mars Pet Products and fishing. What did you get for Christmas? I got a cat. What I bought myself for Christmas is I got myself a little, instead of having this chair, I had like an office chair, so I got this little $45 desk that I could put my keyboard and mouse on, but it's a piece of shit. Like most things on Amazon, like 99% of the reviews are probably fake and left by the person that made the product. You can't trust Amazon reviews, because I saw the few bad reviews and they were completely spot on honest, and all the good reviews were just, you could tell, just based on garbage. Dbrand or NordVPN? Neither. Would you take a sponsorship from Apple? Yeah, why not? I'd take a sponsorship from Apple. I recently retired and have a pension that covers my bills. No debt, focusing on health, and I've never been happier. Focusing on having good spending earlier on in your life so that when you're older you don't have to worry about such things is something that I think a lot of young men miss out on, but I think it is the way to go. What do you think of Joe saying, "Let's go, Brandon"? I think that meme was absolutely hysterical on day one, and 3 months in is the most retarded shit in the world. That's just my personal opinion. I thought it was hysterical. The idea that the media was covering for the fact that the audience was saying fuck Joe Biden rather than just ignoring it or acknowledging that it's awkward. But then when people kept saying it like NPCs for the next 2, 3, 4 months, I think it demonstrated that they're retarded and cannot come up with a new meme. Jim Hook says, Merry Christmas to all from Paul Daniels land. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody in Australia. Even if you're in Australia, we still love you. Will you take a sponsorship from Claris Court? I don't know what that is. Mind letting me know what that microphone is? It sounds great. This is an AE5400 from Audio-Technica. So my AT4050 sounded better, but it died, and I can't figure out how to fix it, and it's dead, and I'm too cheap of a schmuck to buy a new one, so I'm using this. This is my backup microphone. This supposedly uses the same capsule. So this supposedly uses the same capsule as the AT4050, but it has a different body. I don't think it sounds as good because, again, it does have a different body and maybe different electronics. I got this thing for about $100 used, but it's supposed to have the same capsule as the AT4050, which sounds very similar to an AKG 414. But I don't like this as much as my other microphone. I kind of miss my AT4050. Well, let's see. I also can't use the same live audio processing that I did before because I'm using Linux. And nobody puts effort into making audio plugins for Linux to the same extent that they do for Windows. How does that plug into your system? Some Focusrite red scarlet box. Huh. You ever heard of churu or seen those cat treat paste in a tube? No, and the thing is, I'm not bribing him to show up. Like, again, he has a home. This cat was thrown away. Somebody threw Clinton away in the middle of winter. He has a home now. He has a place. He has, he has toys. He has other kitties to play with. He gets pet. He gets fed. If he doesn't want to show up, then he's just being a bum. Why does Audio-Technica feel/sound like it would be dollar store junk but happens to be real audio gear? I don't think it's dollar store junk. I think the AT4050 is a really amazing microphone. It's just mine died and I'm too cheap to replace it. I wish I had kitties to play with. Well, you can always find a kitty on the street. Or you can make your own kitty. Did you watch Die Hard today? No, I don't. I did not watch Die Hard. Greetings from Finland. After elementary school, I went to a trade school. They used to teach electronics repair people. 20 years later, that education line does not exist anymore. Yeah, there used to be shop class. I've seen that in sitcoms before, but I never had a shop class when I was in school. They've taken a lot of the useful stuff out of school, and it's kind of gotten replaced with useless shit. I see you, troll. Next. You've gotten too crazy to be an influencer. Oh, I think I'm less crazy now than I was 10 years ago, but still crazy. I think I was crazier when I first started doing YouTube. I lived off McDonald's for a while, and I'm convinced it lowered my IQ. You know, it's interesting. McDonald's started offering more salads and other stuff after that Super Size Me movie came out. And they didn't sell very well because at the end of the day, as much as people enjoyed screaming about what they saw in Super Size Me, and there was a lot to scream about in that movie, at the end of the day, people want from McDonald's what they want from McDonald's, which is cheap garbage food. Scrolly, scrolly. I was expecting a fan spin. Find a kitty on the street. A kitty, you sick fuck. A kitty. Oh, you get timeout for that. Kitty with T's. Sick fuck. Do you know, I think his name is Chris. He hacks hardware chips very handy for you. Never heard of him. How repairable is a 2019 MacBook? I'm thinking of sending one over for repair. This repairable. I don't know how to answer that question, I'm afraid. If you ask me something specific, like let's say, hey, I broke the screen, how hard is it to find a screen? I'd say, well, on that machine, I cannot buy the LCD by itself for a decent price. You have to get the whole display assembly, and it's insanely expensive, whereas we used to be able to buy the screen for $75. Or if you said, how easy is it to replace the trackpad? I could say, well, you can actually buy the trackpad on this site. It's about a 20-minute repair. It's easy. But if you just say how repairable is something, my answer is probably going to be a very autistic answer of, it's this repairable. I don't know. 5? Yeah. It's 2 feet. I don't know how to measure that. I don't know what units to use. Odd Puppet Esquire funded £10. Thank you. Yeah, for that machine, getting the screen is fucking horrible. We do fix a lot of boards. We can get some stuff like trackpads and stuff like that. Trackpads, stuff like speakers will rip out of other machines. But when it comes to like screens, which used to be a really big part for us, it's finding those anywhere at a reasonable price is damn near impossible. Lewis, are you Jewish? Rossmann is Jewish if it has 1 N, and it's German if it has 2 N's. So 2 N's, German, 1 N, Jewish. Greetings and salute. Again, nobody spells my name right anyway, so like most people are not going to be able to tell. People still spell my first name with an E. That's how you could tell that someone's an idiot. I mean, it's one thing if my channel name were not my fucking name, but my YouTube channel is literally spelled the exact, like, my name. And people still get it wrong every single day. Reading YouTube comments fucking hurts my brain. But our school had a whole section of campus for shop trade classes like a wood shop, electrical, finances, budgeting, cooking, and driver's ed, but nowadays it's completely empty. That's sad. Do you like firearms? Do you own any? I live in New York, where you're only allowed to have firearms if you're a criminal, so I don't have any. I don't mind if you have a firearm, and someday I'll probably, like to learn how to use a firearm and shoot one, but I don't hate them. I just live someplace where you can't have them unless you're a criminal. And I'm not a criminal, so I don't have one. Watch your language. You don't watch the language, you listen to the language. You shouldn't be watching your language. And Merry Christmas, Odd Puppet Esquire. You speak Italian. As well as Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards. Buongiorno. Arrivederci. That's it. How does your future look? Everything going good? I don't know, Brad. I've never had certainty for my future. It keeps getting, it keeps looking up, but I've never assumed it was at the time. What is the story behind your logo? My logo is a sheep. It was posted in an IRC chat that I was in, and I thought it was cute. The sheep is honest and humble, and it won't rip you off like the repair shop that I worked at very shortly before I started doing this professionally. Touch my camera through the fence. That's weird, Homer Simpson. That's kind of weird. I got a problem right now. Is that my S7 crashes and restarts over the slightest fast scroll editing or when I'm too fast or slow, and I think it's getting worse. Safe mode didn't do shit. I've had this thing where when an Android phone gets too old, particularly Samsung, weird things happen to it. My S10e is the only Samsung phone I've ever owned, and I had the Samsung Galaxy S4G, Samsung Galaxy 4G in 2010. I had the S3, the S5, the S7, and the S10e is the only one that I've ever had that didn't just get insanely slow over time to an unfixable extent. I see you, troll. There is a kitty. I wish I could have one. I like cats, but they are a catastrophe for allergies. Eric had that problem in the beginning as well. You want to shoot guns, come to Texas. We have plenty. Do you miss Cuomo? Brad, I thought you were in Florida for some reason. James, I do not miss Cuomo. What's your opinion on Linux now? I mean, the same that it has been for the past 20 years. Some things it's very interesting for, and other things it's a nightmare for because it doesn't have enough people using it for a particular thing for it to be worth it the time for somebody to come up with certain programs and things for it. Can you repair me? No, I don't fix people. When are you moving to a new place? I don't know. Staying in NYC? I don't know. I have an apartment, so I can go back and forth between here and there from time to time. I don't know if you deal with this, but any tips for feeling like crap during Christmas? I don't have any tips. I wish I did. I usually just work through Christmas so that I wouldn't think about it. Random countries have random rules. I love your content. The only reason I can maintain my daughter's iPhone. Take my money. Fight to repair. Your daughter has an iPhone. Can I send you my iPad for repair if I am unvaccinated? We mostly do data recovery on iPads, not really repairs. I kind of got tired of like quoting people for repairs on iPads and having them call me a ripoff because the labor was more than $20 or $30 when to get into the iPad you have to deal with a screen that can crack while you're opening it. So I mostly care about data recovery with iPads. Merry Christmas, money for Clinton, BlackBerry, and Oreo. Hear that, Mr. Clinton? I just took your money. Yeah, that's what I did. I put the Clinton on you. I just took your money and I'm not going to give it to you. Why New York City? I was born here and I have a business here. Since you are about to close on a house, is leaving New York 100%? Is New York City getting worse by the month? Is it possible that it could rebound? Define worse. I mean, you really got to define worse. I don't know. I think it's better now than it was a year ago. I think there's more stuff to do, more stuff that's open, more people outside. It's just that all the stuff kind of closing again. Now the closings are really, they're voluntary. They're not from, the governor's office. Again, the Broadway shows that closed, companies that decided to delay people going back to the office. All that was voluntary. But I think that they're buying into the culture that was created a year and a half ago when Cuomo said, quote, if it saves even one life. And I don't see how you get your way out of that culture. So I was about to close in a house. Is leaving New York 100%. Yes. I don't know what you mean by 100%, though. I still have a business here. My main idea was I would like to have a residence somewhere else so that I at least kind of start acclimating myself to what it's like to live somewhere else. But I do have a business with 12 people here, so I would have to show up here, Like, it's not like I would never come into the state again. Now, I did have a few of my employees come up to me the other day. Actually, I had two of my best employees, best people here, look at me and say, Louis, when you tell us that it's time to go, we will go with you. And I said, where? And he goes, I don't care. Anywhere. And he looks at me and he goes, anywhere as long as it's not Poland. Because he immigrated here from Poland. And he's a really smart guy, but he doesn't want to fucking live in Poland. I don't know why. I've never been to Poland. Maybe it's a great place. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I had two people tell me that, which is really cool. I mean, that's a cool thing to hear from somebody. It's just, like that's 2 out of 12. There's still the other 10 of them. Louis, did you get the booster? I did not get a booster. I got the first one. I was really curious how it would work. I was kind of curious if, once I got vaccinated, if people would leave me alone. And it didn't. I didn't actually get left alone is what I noticed. Like when I started doing those free workshops in the store, instead of, shout out to Lori Lightfoot, best mayor in America. You get the fuck out of my channel. But you get the fuck out of here with that crap. But and when I started doing free workshops, instead of, oh, thank you for allowing people to show up for free and learn and bring their stuff for you to to potentially get fixed and learn something, I can't believe that you're having an event when there's COVID. And like when I went to do a fan meet and greet where I paid a few $100s out of pocket to visit this conference instead of getting thank you, I can't believe you went to a conference during COVID. And it's like, I got a fucking vaccine. Like, what do you want from me? And one of the things is that since I noticed that shit never ended, even after I got a vaccine, it really does make me wonder if it's worth it for me to get a booster. You did an amazing job fixing my MacBook with a major screen issue. Brilliant service and absolutely professional. The whole process. Tips for the cats. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We've been a little short-staffed over the past few days, so I'm glad that you had a good experience and not a crappy one. What is your 5-year plan? I don't have one. I've never had a 5-year plan. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like the idea that you could plan out what's going to happen for the next 5 years is insane. There's always going to be something that happens that kind of throws a wrench into whatever it is you even remotely thought you were planning. If you don't like a question, you call it a troll. No, that wasn't a question. The thing that I specifically called a troll was just somebody going out of their way to say something to try to be as insulting as humanly possible to be a cunt. Like if you that's not a question. If you call that a question, then you're probably a troll as well. Let's see. I'm allergic to girlfriends and wives, apparently, says Colin. I don't know. It looks like you have a girl in the profile picture that you're using, which I imagine is somebody that cares about you. So thank you for being awesome. I am not awesome. It's really hard to find such honest people on this platform. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you, C. Seanism. The idea that in some states people can't own guns is contradictory to the images of Americans walking around with rifles. Well, I mean, a lot of that stuff is bullshit and is propaganda. Like, for instance, when people say, "Hey, I'm walking here," as their impression of people from New York City, I mean, that meme has literally been dead for 30 years. I mean, all the people that used to talk like that have either moved to Florida, South Jersey, or Staten Island. I mean, they fundamentally don't exist. Like this, what most people have in their head is the idea of what a quote New Yorker is based on movies from the 70s and based on people that have all migrated to other parts of the United States at this point in time. Like that, that Irish Catholic, Italian, whatever stereotype, like that all of that is just kind of gone. It's not here anymore, and people still pretend that it is. So I'm not surprised. Again, the United States is not united in any sense. You have a lot of areas that are completely different value systems, completely different ideologies, and everything. So you're not going to see people walking around with rifles in New York, everywhere in New York City. You're thinking of other areas. Most of your business mail-in are walk-in. Walk-in, who is walking in? People that have broken shit. Duh. Is there a way to talk to you away from a comment section? There's my email, lewis@rossmangroup.com, but I only read it when people don't send me books. But if you can figure out how to spell my first and my last name, then you will be able to email lewis@rossmangroup.com. Flushing PayPal, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Season's greetings from Eastern Nebraska. Merry Christmas, Papa Frampton. Papa Frampton, I believe, is in Ernie Chambers' old district. I can always give him shit and remind him of that. I'm joking with you, but if you die, can I marry Erica without you haunting me in my dreams? And I also have a MacBook. That's very creepy, man. You should find a woman for yourself and not, wait. Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. Is your cat vaccinated? I think my kitty got a vac. I took my kitty to the ASPCA van to get repaired, and they repaired him good. He hasn't had any children since. If you're going to do e-bike videos in New Hampshire. No, I have no plan on that. Can Microsoft, IBM, or even Apple buy back ThinkPad from Lenovo? I wish. IBM's got better stuff to do. The PC market of producing laptops is not something that I imagine carries a lot of profit for them. Born Again says we are feeling sicker today. They ramped up radiation. They control the satellites in the university in Pennsylvania. Who's they? Anytime I hear somebody saying they, like what's they? Like who is they? Whitey? The man? Like what is they? Apologize for caps. Don't leave New York City. You're the sole reason Apple shutters when New York City is mentioned. Gonna head out anyway. I hope you have a very Festivus. Well, I probably will at some point. I appreciate the 10 pounds and thank you, but where would we be without you? Probably reading a book or something on Christmas instead of watching this video. We sound like that on Long Island. Cup of coffee. Yeah, maybe there. But those people are not in New York City anymore is my point. Like Staten Island, Jersey Shore, maybe Long Island, but that idea of what, the classic New Yorker, that's dead. That's a dead meme. That meme has been dead for decades. You said you might be sick, thinking of monoclonal treatments. Hell no. I don't deal with stuff, I don't even bother going to the doctor unless I feel like I'm about to die. I probably should. That's probably a bad idea. But I'm one of those people if I have a cold and somebody's like, you should go to the doctor. Well, no, I'm not. If in 5 days from now I feel like I'm dying, then I'll go to a doctor. But usually I'm very much I come from a very walk it off kind of family. Have you heard about AMD locking Ryzen CPUs to specific vendors? Tried swapping a CPU from my Lenovo to Asus. Newegg CPU wanted to vendor lock to Lenovo. Lenovo CPU wouldn't post an Asus. I have not heard about that. I'm going to write that down as a research topic for myself. AMD locking CPUs. Give me 1 second. Okay, I just wrote that down. I'm not for mandates at all, but Destiny seems to do a good job of demystifying the fear about the vaccine. I enjoy some of Destiny's videos on these things. I think that my opinion of of vaccines probably aligns very closely with some of his. I really don't have fear of a vaccine. I don't think I've ever had fear about a vaccine. I have had fear that the government will do stupid shit when it comes to things like getting me in trouble if I don't mandate people who walk, like, checking people at the door to see if they have a vaccine to get in my business. That's where I have a problem. Giving the city any more reasons to fine people and create conflict is not something that I'm for in any way, shape, or form. But I've never had any sort of fear around getting the vaccine. Can I have? Okay, I should take that back. I'm deathly afraid of needles because I'm a pussy, but that has nothing to do with this vaccine. I'm always afraid of. Can I have Oreo? We need an office kitten. Absolutely. Email me, lewis@rossmangroup.com. I'll arrange all the free shipping. I'll give you a month of free food if you take Oreo. If two people will go, you could set up a satellite shop in New Hampshire and keep your main place in Manhattan. That is not win-win, Hannah. There's no way in hell that's win-win. Why New Hampshire over Florida? Well, New Hampshire allows me to visit my current shop every now and then, whereas Florida doesn't. Florida is about a day and a half drive away. New Hampshire is about 3.5 to 4 hour drive away from the section that I chose. So I could pop in on my store from very frequently if I wanted to. You can't really do the pop-in very well from Florida. Luis just said he won't fix Apple stuff, but Dave just said he fixed his Apple product. I'm confused. You are confused. Who's Luis? What's a Luis? I don't know who Luis is. Duck Vision said Merry Christmas, bud, for $5. Thank you. Do you believe the government is evil? Governments in the idea? Do you mean the government in terms of the concept of a government in general? Or do you mean our government? Is the halal guy's food really that good? No, it's mediocre at best. But it's one of those things that, like, it's like Katz's Deli. Like, everybody likes to pretend it's way better than it is. Do you like RC cars, planes, etc.? Have you ever had one? I used to have Tyco RC, but that doesn't count because they suck. But I used to have a lot of fun with them. What do you think of the FAA's remote ID system? I know nothing about the FAA's remote ID system, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm here to troll you on a leader's command because your acquisition of the New Hampshire location. Also, don't appreciate being abducted by yourself and Erica last night in my nightmare. You'd love it there. That's your type of place. They have a lot of rural areas of New Hampshire. You consider moving to Florida before being incarcerated by New York government, or would you remain and be locked up? I don't think I'd be locked up by New York government. Would you get into equipment manufacturing? Probably not, because I don't know. I don't have any equipment to manufacture, and I don't know how to manufacture anything. I am behind in chat by about 7 minutes. Live free or die, Marie. Do you think in the near future... I know you don't typically work on handheld, but I would only trust you to restore my original Game Boy to work again. I don't know what that trust is based on, because I've never opened an original Game Boy in my life. I have no idea how any of it is designed. I have no idea how any of it's put together. I don't have any way to get parts to an original Game Boy. So you're essentially trusting me to do... Trusting me to restore your original Game Boy is almost as bad as trusting me to come up with a vaccine for a new virus and then to administer it into you. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to opening a Game Boy. Like, literally nothing. No idea. No clue whatsoever. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that people trust me, but don't trust me to fix or open shit that I've never opened before. I will fuck it up. The way that you learn how to do any of this stuff is you fuck it up. The first device that you open, you're going to fuck up. Like, there are some people out there that are amazing, that have the ability to open something. What's your New Year's resolution for 2022 since you failed your 2021? Oh, it's my 2021 New Year's resolution all over again, which is to lead a lower stress lifestyle. I know you addressed this before, but why not Florida over New Hampshire? I answered that twice this stream. You must not get a lot of emails from journalists since they can't spell your names in their articles. Well, I kind of... Nintendo or like Apple, it's on your own head. Huh? Do you listen to Eminem? I thoroughly enjoy the Marshall Mathers LP and the Slim Shady LP. The Eminem show is a kind of but I could still get into it. And everything after the Eminem show to me is just horrible and garbage and junk, and I have no desire to listen to any of it. And every time I do, I'm incredibly disappointed by what I hear. I appreciate Eminem for the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem show, but after that, it's no interest. Stop copying and pasting the same thing. You get in timeout. What do you think about the job market in 2021, and do you expect the U.S. economy to crash? I don't know about the economy crashing, but I think at some point the bubbles have to come down a little bit. Like everybody's just kind of used to there being the these sky high PEs for all these different companies. That's kind of weird. The high cost of a lot of commodities, the high cost of housing. Housing prices can't just keep going full GameStop forever. Okay, you've copied and pasted too many times. Now you go. From timeout to ban. I met Ernie Chambers in Nebraska. I think he's pretty funny and cool. He seemed like a cool dude. It's just he spent 2 hours trolling a right to repair hearing, so I'm salty. They mentioned you in the latest Linus Tech Tips video. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm honored. Thank you. Let's see. I only came on stream to see what everyone else is. Huh? Does Luis have COVID? What's a Luis? And why does nobody know how to spell my name? I have an e-bike battery. It worked great, but battery needs rework. Interested in the battery for a repair video and donate it to someone in need. Don't ask me to do a battery repair video. You don't want me to do your battery repair. I appreciate it, and thank you very much for the $5. What is broken about it? Email me, lewis@rossmangroup.com. But I already answered this question. Go away. Let's see. Lewis, do you like RC cars? Answer that one. Nate, I'm going to put you in timeout until you learn how to buy a vowel. If you're against mandates for vaccines, you're anti-vax by definition. Incorrect. You don't get to change the definition of a word that's existed for decades and decades and then claim that the new definition is something else. Like, if you redefine violence to mean when I disagree with you, and then you say you are committing violence against me, that's not actual violence, because for like the last 3 or 5 or 8,000 years, violence meant when, I hack you or something. You can't just redefine a word. I mean, that was a really ridiculous sleight of hand. I actually tried to use archive.org on the dictionary and to try to figure out what the definition of anti-vax was like 5 years ago, and it doesn't fucking work. That was so aggravating. What effect of an Internet of Things device has to be connected to an AWS data center? It has to be connected to an AWS data center affect the repairability of a device. What effect of an Internet of Things device that has to be connected to affect the repairability of a device? I appreciate the $5, and I feel very guilty because I have no idea what that question actually is. So I don't know how to answer it because I don't even understand the question. I don't get it. I'm sorry. Does a device... I mean, if it connects to AWS, I can imagine the one thing that's keeping it from being repairable. There you go. Thank you. The only thing that would keep it from being repairable is if it can detect if I've repaired something or changed a part and then say, I see the serial number of this part has changed, I'm not going to work anymore. Why New Hampshire over Vermont or upstate New York? Because upstate New York is still in New York. And Vermont is over here, and New Hampshire is over here, and New Hampshire has no income tax, and Vermont has an income tax. Vermont has mildly nicer scenery, but not enough nicer scenery to be worth it. That chair looks comfy. It's less comfy than it looks, but it is comfy. Do broken clips count as those F-ups? Why do laptops need clips anyway? Can't they have more screws to clip your panel? More user serviceable. I haven't broken a clip in a long time. Like a really long time. But yeah, those are the types of F-ups that are going to happen when you fix something for the first time. I wish chat wasn't P2W. Piss to work? What? What the fuck? Use words. Use your words, not random letters and numbers. What the fuck is P2W? Can you start a farm below the Mason-Dixon to repair both laptops and mobile devices? What's the point of it being a farm? Why would I have it be a farm? Would it be like, you know, I toss an Acer 5517 into the ground and I water it, and then, you know, like a bunch of M1 MacBook screens like sprouts out or something? That would be really cool. What kind of shows and movies do you watch on Netflix? Documentaries from time to time, but what I'm finding about Netflix is that they really drag out their documentaries way longer than they have to be, with a lot of production fluff. So I've watched less of them. I can't stick around, but good to see you streaming. Hope you enjoy new house. Thank you, Nicolama. It's an apartment, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Have you been made aware of the mass amount of Xbox Ones fag have suddenly stopped reading discs? Huh? Match House is going to copy paste. Oh no. Just joined the stream. Not sure if this is addressed or not, but what do you think of the Let's Go Brandon chant? I think it was funny the first day that it happened, and then I think that the people that were still using it 3 to 4 months later are completely retarded, and I have no idea how retarded they sound. Let me see if I can. Let's see. What's your response to people who say if you want the freedom to not take a vaccine, you need to accept the consequences of that decision? RE mandates. Well, I mean, the consequences are going to be the consequences that people agree to have and live with. So what is the consequence of not taking a vaccine? So for instance, you know, if I as a business owner decide that I don't want unvaccinated people at my business, well, then that's a consequence. But then I also have to deal with the consequence that I'm going to lose a bunch of my customers. If the consequence is going to be a consequence that is unconstitutionally mandated, do franchises with access to motherboard schematics? Do franchises with access to motherboard schematics? I don't know what that question means. Do you do franchises? Like, fuck them? Like, do I fuck people to get schematics? Do you do franchises? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I really don't understand what that means. Like, not even close. Do you do franchises with access to motherboard schematics? Do I make schematics available to others? No. Do I have a franchise that you could join to get schematics? No. That would be illegal. But I can't do that. Is there a way to talk to you outside of the comment section? Brad, I answered that already. Lewis@rossmangroup.com. If you don't want to email, I get it, but then that's that. That's all there is. Lewis@rossmangroup.com. You will love it in New Hampshire. It is a great place to live better with a freedom-loving like person like you. Thank you, John Cooper. Yeah, when it comes to consequences, I mean, you know, if the consequences, okay, you have to, like for instance, if I insult you, you can do what you want, but you have to live with the consequence. If I call you ugly, but then the consequence is that, I don't know, your family owns a car dealership and they decide they don't want to sell a car to me, or they're not going to give me a discount. Okay, that's a consequence that I have to live with. But if I don't want to get a vaccine, and then you create a consequence that you're now not allowed to get a job, even if that business would want to hire you, they're not legally allowed to, that's not a consequence. That's tyranny. Like, that's not a consequence that was imposed on you by society. That was a consequence that was imposed on you by a tyrannical governor or a tyrannical mayor or a tyrannical president, in my opinion. Look, I'm 5 minutes behind in chat. Did you buy or rent your new place? It is a rental. Visiting. I take that by pay to win chat comment. Oh, really? Are you one of those salt fucks? You, like, read the fucking description. I mean, like, seriously. There's 830 people here. There's over 100 messages per minute. And you really think that, like, I can just read all of them immediately? Of course there's going to be of course there's going to be a lag. Like, I hate those salty comments where somebody goes, oh, clearly it's only reading paid comments when I'm obviously reading a bunch of unpaid comments. I can't read every one of your fucking comments immediately. There's 100 comments a minute. That means I have less than 1 second per comment. Like, it's just, tell me you can't do math. Tell me that there was lead in your water as a kid without telling me that you're that dumb. Tell me you're dumb without saying I'm dumb. Oh my God, that is just, it's like every stream you get one of those, and it's just so annoying. I mean, it's just a fundamental inability to do the most basic math. Visiting my dad in New York City and staying in Bryant Park. Any suggestions for things to do in the city? No. Seriously, I have no suggestions for you. I would have told you to go to Mazzetto and East Houston Street and First Avenue, but they closed. I would have told you to go to Lucha Lucha to get the best burrito in the world, but they closed. Like, all the places I could give you that would have been really cool places to go are closed. So I have nothing to recommend to you. I would have told you to see Cirque du Soleil on Broadway, but they're closed. You probably already answered, but I'm surprised this video isn't coming from your newly rented space. Why would you be surprised? I haven't even signed the lease yet. Like, I literally just visited it, and I walked up, and I walked down, and I called them, and I said, yeah, I'll take this place. Let's meet on Tuesday. Like, I'm not gonna... Merry Christmas, and thank you for the $5. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have stayed there without signing a lease, but I'm pretty sure that would have been trespassing. What is your opinion on the X1 Carbon? I like the X1 Carbon. My highlight of the year was the video from Steve Wozniak. You must still be pumped. Do you think you'll hear from him again? I believe I will never hear from him again. I think that he has a lot of people that are smarter than me, that have more interesting things to offer to society than me, that he's probably surrounded by, and that this is likely something that he thought and he saw and he's like, oh, that's cool, and has moved on to other things. My Windows 10 laptop had an issue where pressing the WASD keys repeats the letter. Some of the yes key doesn't work at all. Any fix? Replace your keyboard. Please read this one. I read your last one. Let's see. Do you foresee any other ways Apple and other technology companies will try to squeeze more money out of the consumer when it comes to device repair? I think just the same old seems to be working. You know, as it becomes more and more restrictive when it comes to being able to get access to parts, they'll get more of the repair market, and we will slowly disappear, as we are right now. Like, I used to be able to buy screens to a lot of MacBooks. Now, all of the vendors that I have, all the other brokers, thank you, Alpha Centauri, all the vendors that I have are kind of gone. I can't get access to the stuff, a lot of the stuff that I used to. And that's just going to keep happening as time goes on. And eventually, you know, shops like mine will disappear. Eventually, I'll disappear. And you won't see me anymore. And I'll just be invisible. And I'll be working at I don't know, maybe I'll be working at Model Sporting Goods or some shit. Actually, I won't. I can't go back to Model Sporting Goods because they closed. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to wind up doing when this isn't a thing anymore. When are you going to marry Erica? When are you going to mind your business, you fuck? Let's see. Joe Biden saying it was kind of funny, though. I don't know. I didn't find much. I just didn't find it humorous. Like, it's not because I was offended by it. It's just that, like, laughing at the same thing 4 months in is just fundamentally retarded to me. I can't laugh at it. I can't get anything out of it anymore. For your information, vendor locking is called AMD PSB. Thought to only be on servers. It was the default on my small form factor ThinkCenter desktop, maybe Dell and HP too. That's fucking disappointing because I really liked AMD over Intel. Their processors were better, and a lot of what Intel did to get market share early on was really crappy. So I was really happy to see AMD do something better. But yeah, fuck, that sucks. Your resident electrical engineer checking in. Thanks for your videos and perspective. It's very valuable. Merry Christmas. Thank you, David P. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. The fuck is that? Sounds like people are having sex outside. Any tips for finding workshop, non-retail space in Brooklyn? LoopNet.com. Call everybody. Benjamin, if you keep copying and pasting the question, it just makes it harder for me to eventually catch up on chat. If you are sent an iPad for repair out of New York City, an iPad owner is from Red State, can you attempt repair and will device be seized or read by New York City or FBI? Are you a terrorist? If you're a terrorist or some pedophile rapist or some shit, then you probably should keep the iPad with you and not ask me these weird questions. If you're not a terrorist or some pedophile rapist or something, then you're probably fine. I don't really give a shit what state you're from. But if you're usually, people who ask that question usually have some shit that, and I don't want nothing to do with it. So I would say fix your own fucking iPad. Thank you, Clinton, for including Lewis's great information on your YouTube channel. Somebody understands whose channel this is. Yes, you can do meth. It's not salty, it's blatant, willful negligence and ignorance. I agree. Given that data on any of the current medium are volatile at some point, do you have advice on data integrity to trade one? MDisk Cloud Service. Roy Hendrickson always told me if your stuff is not in 3 separate places, then it doesn't exist. I agree with Brad says Lewis has read 3 of my comments on the stream alone. I didn't hear the second answer, sorry. And I've never given him a dime. Just saying, chill peeps. Thank you, Brad. Broadway is closed. It depends on the show, but a lot of them are closing. But they're not closing because of a mandate that they close, nor are they closing because... I have a Pine Sill and Pine Power. I'm trying to build a mobile kit. What would you recommend? I don't know what a mobile kit is. I don't know what you're trying to do. A mobile kit for what? Like a medical kit, a soldering kit, a laptop repair kit, a streaming kit. I don't know what a kit could be almost anything. I feel shitty because you gave $5 and I don't have an answer to your question, but many of these questions are so broad that I have no idea how to answer them. I'm sorry. Have you been to Miami, Florida? I've been to Miami, and it seems like a dead mall. Merry Christmas, Lewis. Congratulations on the new place, and thank you for your content. So I went to Wynwood. Wynwood is... Shh, stop it! My cat just took a fucking greenie box out of the recycling can, and he's just getting his head stuck in it. So I went to Wynwood, and Wynwood is pretty much Bushwick in Florida. No, thank you. On my way to work in Cleveland, Ohio to reopen the factory. Merry Christmas. Thank you. And there was also this part, like, it just looked like such a dead mall. It was so fucking creepy. Like, let me see if I can find that video. But I'm not going to be able to because I'm going to get even more behind on chat. Actually, I'm already behind 6 minutes. You go to my live channel. You'll find it. I'm too far behind on chat. It's messed up how the essential workers who were used as meat shields for this pandemic are now losing their jobs to mandates. Where was that concern for safety when this began? I hate it. Thank you for the $10. Do you think the mandates that eradicated polio and all the other deadly diseases of the last century were unconstitutional and immoral? I mean, you didn't really need a mandate for smallpox the same way because smallpox killed 3 in every 10 people that got it, and it fucked up their skin in this horrible way. So, I mean, I think you probably would have had Like the problem with COVID is that the way the media and the government reacted in the beginning, they reacted as if it had I think I answered that one. Yeah. Fuck. Actually, I only half answered that one, but there's another one. Okay, I gotta move. I don't know. I gotta figure out how to be a better streamer. I think the problem here and what created a lot of the distrust is that the media and the government acted about COVID in a manner that would make you think it's as bad as smallpox, and that created a fundamental amount of distrust when people realized this is, while bad, not smallpox. And I think that a lot of the hesitancy that you're getting is fundamentally stemming from the distrust that was created from the very beginning. I'm trying to build a mobile repair kit for small electronics, ham radio, and phones. Take my money and don't apologize. Mobile repair kit. If the Pine Cell is kind of like the TS80 or the TS100, but more open source, from what I understand, I would probably try. The next thing that you're probably going to need is a hot air station, but I don't know how to get a mobile one going. I don't know how you do mobile hot air. I've never seen mobile hot air because it needs a lot of. Let's see. I would probably go for some, I don't know, at an 862 and maybe a generator of some sort. The PC Zone 318 funded $10. Thank you. Do you know if he ever requests from other people? Just because something has been done in the past doesn't necessarily mean it was the correct way to have done it. But I think that when you had those vaccines, I think you had people running for them in a bit more. I believe that there was probably less distrust back then. And even though you didn't have the internet, even though you didn't have social media the way you did now, like people saw the paralysis of polio and like the way you look after smallpox. I think the average person was probably running for a vaccine back then. All those previous vaccines didn't require 3 to 4 doses, and you could still catch transmitted disease. Merry Christmas. Thanks for all you do. I don't. Again, this goes into an area where I'm totally fucking clueless. But like, were any of those vaccines ever 100%? I mean, I imagine the vaccines of the past were better than this one because they weren't dealing with a coronavirus, which is a difficult thing. Nate says, read my comments. I'm not reading your comments because you don't even know how to spell my name. You haven't earned me reading your fucking comment. Learn how to spell my damn name. Also, you get a timeout for that shit. Is it worth it to train and work at U-Break iFix or CPR? I want to learn a skill because I have no expertise, and I want to learn how computers work. If you're learning something that's worthwhile, yes. Otherwise, I would say it is a franchise, which is bottom of the barrel, and you're not going to get a lot out of it. I do know that CPR has gotten a bit more serious when it comes to board repair. And I do know that they do training. So if you get the opportunity to train for board repair at CPR, then by all means go for it. But make sure that you're always getting more out of it than what you're putting in. Answer the first half of my question. I don't know what the first half of your question is. Did you even have a question? Also, why would you post that instead of clarifying what the question? Oh my God. I don't know how to find your question. Let's see. Because one point, where was it? I don't know. Answer the first half of my question. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. In the time that I'm going to go through and try to find your question, like another one is going to appear. And then I'm going to have another person that's mad at me. I don't even know what it is, and I don't know where to find it. And here we go, off the treadmill. Thank you for those for answering my technical but outlandish questions. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you. Let's see. Answer the first half of my question. Okay, I just searched, and that's the only thing that shows up on the screen. Oh, wait, no, there's another one, but... YouTube, you fucking piece of shit. And look, it literally doesn't let me scroll. Oh, my God, that's fucking funny. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. I gotta show you how shit this fucking platform is. Check this out. Look at this garbage. Wynwood is Hampton, sucks unless you want $25,000 sofa. Your $100 chair rocks. Merry Christmas, Paul, and thank you. So look at this. So this is your comment, Alpha Centauri. I scroll down. What is it? What is it, YouTube? What the fuck is it? I literally can't read your question. I'm sorry. YouTube sucks as a platform. What can I say? This is a shitty platform. Coded by people that don't know what the fuck. Like, I'm sorry. They actually used to have a good live streaming thing in YouTube. Then they took Creator Studio Classic and turned it into whatever the fuck this is now. And now it doesn't work. I don't know what the fuck you said. Sorry. Like, I don't fucking know. It is no longer Christmas. It is in 364 days. This is like putting up Christmas lights in July, but worse. Praise your cats and Merry post-Christmas. I always have my Christmas tree up. Do you think You Break I Fix is a good place to work and learn repair? No, I'm not a fan of You Break I Fix. You Break I Fix is the kind of place that sends me, like, fucking trackpad cables to repair. I've gotten mailed trackpad cables from them before. Like, across the country, trackpad cable. A customer had to wait a week and a half for shipping both ways because they couldn't diagnose a trackpad cable. I'm not impressed. Thank you, the PC Zone 318. Does he know he is streaming here? I know I'm streaming. I'm fully aware that I'm streaming. Just not sure who he's talking to. I'm talking to all these people. I'm talking to 947 of all of you. If I give you an iPad with evidence that could lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, would you repair it? I think I'd repair it. I think I'd have an incentive structure to repair that. Before I watched the live stream, I was treated to an ad of Bill Clinton's master class. I have no idea what Lewis's opinion is on him, but I can't say it's ironic. What do you think of DeSantis? Ron DeSantis. I think he probably has a good chance of running for president in 2024, and I think he has a good chance of winning. Honestly, I don't know much about him because I don't follow Florida politics. The reason that I shit on Cuomo so much or de Blasio is because I follow my own state's politics. I don't follow Florida politics. And he really affects Florida, not the country. But when I hear him say, if you're looking to fuck with small businesses, if you're looking to push mandates, then I will stand in your way, I remember looking at my screen and actually cheering. It's like, I wish he had a fucking state income tax because instead of having no state income tax, because I'd actually pay taxes to that guy. But again, I don't live there. For all I know, he's a fucking shit governor. I don't know how his policies would affect me as a resident of Florida because I'm not a resident of Florida. All I know is what I see on the news, which is different from actually living there. Check out Jackery from Mobile Workshop. I have no idea what Jackery is, but thank you for the 15 squiggly elephant tusks. I think that's a squiggly elephant tusk. Again, like when I see him on the news, that's probably that's performance. That's performance. That's theater. But he's good at the theater part of it. On a temperamental, again, I don't know about policy because I don't follow Florida politics when it comes to all the specific policies. On a temperamental level, though, I think I fuck with DeSantis. I hate the classification of people into groups of unessential and essential in a permanent emergency, effectively canceling the assertions of the Constitution. Yeah, me too. Greenies for Mr. Clinton, Blackberry and Audio. Thanks for the smiles. Holy shit. Clinton, I just got $100 because of you. Clinton, I'm going to spend 5 of that on Greenies and 95 of that on me. That's how this works. That's how this works, and you're going to be happy with it. At the start of the outbreak, it seemed a lot worse with people dying on the streets, but it probably evolved into something way less bad really quick. To be clear, I live in New York City. I'm out, I did not see people. Again, you have a lot of homeless people, to be clear, but that's been a thing for, since the beginning of time. But I did not see people dying on the streets from COVID. That was not, it was not Resident Evil. Don't let somebody convince you of that. Don't get me wrong. We had a lot of deaths. It's just people dying on the street. No. The platform that works for chat is called Twitch. We are here because you are still here. Excuse me. I'm here. I'm using a combined chat app, so I read the Twitch stuff. It's just there's not as much of it. And usually the only thing that actually shows up from Twitch is people asking if I'm reading it, which is very meta and self-referential and doesn't make for good conversation. Here's my apolitical serious message. Your work ethic is infectious and is a great benchmark. Really grateful you shared your ups and downs and didn't sugarcoat anything in generalizations like hustle. I hate hustle culture, to be honest with you. It's weird because I think that in many ways, people like Gary Vaynerchuk and me may be saying some of the same stuff, but when I watch it, I can't tell you what it is. I haven't quantified it. I haven't journaled it enough yet to really figure it out, but there's something about it that just seems icky to me. And I can't tell you what it is. But when I hear people that use the word hustle and stuff like that, there's something about it that I've just never liked. I've never really fit in with hustle culture or the type of people that talk about it. And I was around a lot of them in the studio business. Apparently, YouTube engineers do not rhyme with if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yo, I miss YouTube fucking Classic. I really miss YouTube Studio Classic. They used to have a button that allowed you to keep using it when you logged in, and they fucking took it away 2 years ago, and I'm never going to forgive them for it because this new system they have sucks so much worse. It's worse in so many ways. Just like that. Like that guy asked me to read his chat, so I click viewer activity and I scroll, and it's not fucking there. Like, it's bullshit, but it's YouTube. Welcome to YouTube. The YouTube program, like they could fuck up a wet dream. Thank you for the answer. One of my favorite channels, Real and Down Earth. Merry Christmas to your fam and Mr. Clinton. Thank you, and my apologies for not answering your full question in the first place. Also, my apologies on behalf of YouTube for not being able to scroll and find your first question in the first place. What kind of chair do you recommend for long hours of office work? I have an Aeron chair for Paul, Steve, and Chris. The other people, I would get one for them if they wanted, but they didn't see the need for one or want it. But yeah, like for the value, for the most valuable people I had here in the beginning, I got them Aeron chairs. I actually got an Aeron chair for everybody in the beginning. In the beginning, everybody was the most valuable. How times change. Hi, Lewis. Apple tried to charge me $300 to replace the screen of my iPhone 8. They didn't try to charge you. They offered you something. I just bought a $30 repair kit and repaired it myself using a YouTube tutorial. You did not get an original screen. So, like, you're comparing two different things. So you're comparing an original screen to some shit-ass eBay Amazon screen. Yo, like, well, why are you making me defend Apple here? This fucking pisses me off. So the first thing is, I don't know what it is that offends me so much about when somebody says, like, Lewis tried to charge me this. Like, no, I didn't. I gave you a fucking price quote, and I could give a fuck less if you gave me your money. For Florida or Austin, your home and business tax would be substantially lower, and your employees could own their own homes. Again, I have 2 people that are willing to come with me, 1 which is a maybe, and I have 9 that I got to work on. It takes time. It takes time. You can't just like, again, I'm not a dictator. I'm an employer. Employer is not a dictator. But like, I fucking hate that vocabulary when somebody says, they tried to charge me $200. Like, no, I didn't. I gave you a price quote, and I don't give a fuck if you give me your money. I've gotten these 1-star reviews in the past where they say, they tried to charge me. It's like, no, I didn't. I couldn't have been more disinterested when I was quoting you. And I even told you probably shouldn't do this. But they used that word anyway. They quote tried to, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Did they fucking take your credit card out of your pocket and try to steal it from you? Did they actually take the card from you and then put it in the reader without your consent? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They offered you a service which you declined, and then you went on eBay and bought parts that were way worse than the parts they would have given you, and did it yourself. And listen, you should be able to do that. By all means, you should be able to do that. But like, Basil, the seagull is so meaty he regularly gets confused with an albatross. Huh? I don't know what that means. New Israeli shekel. That looks like an elephant tusk to me, honestly. Thank you, Robert. Why don't you focus on Twitch instead? Because Twitch has 1% of the viewership. And Twitch also has 1% of the messages. It has 1% of the messages and 1% of the viewership. So I focus on it. It's just it gets 1% of my focus. Is this live? No, it's not. It's not. No, I lied. YouTube lied. Everybody lied to you. What does Mr. Clinton think about the new place? He hasn't seen it. Would you move to Miami? Hell no. It's like New York and Florida. That's literally New York City and Florida. Like, all the shit that's fucked up with New York City is fucked up with Miami. So, let me find this. I gotta find my random live channel. I wanted to find this video before, but I can't look for it, because if I look for it, something's gonna show up on the screen, and I'm gonna lose the ability to see. I can't take the time. What's it? Merry Christmas from Los Angeles. Thank you, Pasha. Okay, so this is a video of me walking around Miami, and it's literally all the same shit that's wrong with New York City. Like, again, you have a bunch of homeless people on the streets right next to apartments that cost like $3,000, and you have a bunch of empty stores that are empty for several years that nobody rents because they cost too much money. Like, Miami has a lot of the same shit going on with it that New York City has going on with it. So my dog was paralyzed yesterday, and I've been having to look after him, make sure he's eating. Having you live for some laughs is great. Local CPRs are known to heavily overprice their repairs compared to conspired to my shop. What's your take on prices? Thanks. I feel bad because you gave me $5, but I don't know what you mean by what's your take on prices. Pricing is a function of supply and demand in a capitalist free market? I don't know. Give me something specific, and you can put it in the normal chat. Just give me a specific question. You don't have to give me money, but just make it make sense so that I can answer it. If I get a new laptop, what would you recommend for something close to a workstation? I usually go ThinkPad, but just wondering what you go with. The ThinkPad P series. I like the ThinkPad P series. I would get the ThinkPad P series that does not have a numpad. Off-center keyboards in a laptop are cancer. In my opinion, having an off-center keyboard in a laptop are cancer. I don't like off-center keyboards in laptops. They fucking piss me off. And I know that Lenovo just added some P series ThinkPads with the keyboard in the center. Can make more pros of New York and talk about its real estate. I love GoPros. I'll make more GoPros in New York and talk about real estate. I like GoPros on the bike. New York looks like a fun place. It's fun in the beginning, I suppose. You're not going to get as much fun from me because I'm cynical and jaded when it comes to New York City. And also, I fundamentally, at my core, I don't use what this city is known for. Like, I don't go to bars. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to all the small restaurants. You know, I don't walk around the city looking for new young people to socialize with. So I'm not really making use of what it is. Holy fucking shit. Love the channel. So many logical conclusions. I rock with your ideas and right to repair. Merry Christmas and thanks for the content. Okay, my content's not worth $500, man. There's no way in hell this shit is worth $500. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you, Charles Edward Cheese. Thank you. But yeah, this content ain't worth $500, man. I feel like you got gypped. I feel bad. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Cobalt says Louis Rossman. Honestly, that's one word. I don't know. I can't answer one word. I don't know what to do with one word. I need a sentence to answer. Give me a sentence. Give me questions that make sense. If they pass legislation that creates COVID passes, will you leave? I mean, don't they kind of already have that with the vaccine passport for gyms, bars, and restaurants and Broadway shows? Don't like how YouTube does things. Too bad you can't dislike it because they took that away too. Louis, you are naive, sorry to say. That's not an argument. I mean, you shouldn't be apologizing for saying that. You should be apologizing for being incapable of creating a coherent argument as an adult, which is pretty fucking sad, man, to be honest with you. Shaq has an amazing line of chairs through Office Depot. Never heard of it. Hustle to me seems like something that's less consistent than a gig, which both are less than a job and definitely not a career. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem working really hard. I've just had something against hustle culture, or the idea that, you know, you always have to be doing something regardless of whether what you're doing actually has meaning. Florida has mobile vets. Keep your New York City office open in a closet, break your lease, and holdouts will be in Florida in 3 months. Mobile vets. I'm working on it. Again. It's hustle attitude that you have to be willing to do anything to move forward for me, because most of that stuff is pretty meaningless at the end of the day, especially if you screw everyone over. I agree. I think that's what I don't like about hustle culture. I work for a semiconductor company manufacturing DRAMs. I've heard you talking about it. Inquisitive, what you've against semiconductor manufacturers. You've heard me talking against manufacturing DRAM? What? Where? Where have I ever been against people manufacturing RAM? I love random access memory. Yeah, I don't know if you have a citation in context so that I can figure out what it is that you mean, but I don't remember ever. I love random access memory. It's one of my favorite types of memory. What advice or tips would you give someone before using a hot air station for the first time? Good beginner's projects, do's and don'ts. The advice that I would give you is you need to learn proprioception, which is what my old personal trainer used to tell me when it comes to exercise. Proprioception is knowing where you are. Let's say you have your eyes closed. You should be able to tell, like, my leg is here, or my foot is here, or my arm is here. This is here. You should be able to know that your hand is here and not here, even if your eyes are closed and not able to see it. What you need with hot air station is you always need to be able to know where your hot air is pointing and where it is, even if you had your eyes closed. That, like, you need to know that it's pointing here and not here, because when you're in a microscope, you can't see your hand and you can't see your arm, so you don't really know where it is. So you need to be able to tell where you're pointing it. This is for the cat. Yeah, but let's be real. I'm stealing it. Thank you. You need to be able to know where your hot air is. That's one of the very important things when it comes to using a hot air station. Because also Twitch says, hey, where is he reading chats from? Yeah, Twitch is getting the shit end of the stick tonight. There's no questions here, that's why. Well, there you go. Get an iPad for work because it's cool and stuff. Merry Christmas. I'm not getting an iPad, but thank you, Chesty. DeSantis is a performance artist a la Trump. I think DeSantis is probably more competent than Trump. Lewis is right. I contacted him about a MacBook repair, and he told me how much it would cost and that it probably isn't worth it. I decided it isn't worth it on such an old computer. What about Orlando? I visited Orlando, and I didn't go over a lot of it, but it seemed like a cultural desert. Somebody had described Orlando as a cultural desert, and I didn't understand what they meant until I visited. Should we start making chips in America again? Seems like a security stability risk to have them all made overseas. Yes, but I don't know how you do that. You can't just rip the institutional knowledge out of a culture or out of a country and then just expect that you can magically restore it just like that. That's going to be a really difficult thing to do, especially when you have areas where they've been doing it for 30 years and they've been figuring out, okay, how can we teach people to do these jobs that may not have this high level of education? How can we make it easier for people to understand? How can we make it easier to set things up? Like, you if you're constantly refining something over a period of 30 years and we've just stopped doing it altogether, you're not just going to immediately be able to catch up and be able to do it as efficiently. This is for the kitty. Well, the kitty says thank you. To be fair, you were downtown, and downtown is typically a dump. I wasn't just downtown. I went to Wyndham or Wynwood. I think it was, Wynwood. Wynwood was literally a copy and paste of Bushwick and the hipster elements of Bushwick into Florida. No, thank you. You had, what was it? A Brickell, which is just, again, it wasn't impressive. It was just insanely overpriced, but not really impressive, which reminded me of New York City. And then you had Miami, which in and of itself, downtown Miami is a cluster. IT Tech from Maryland. Thank you for your long-standing efforts fighting for right to repair. Your videos on the subject are useful. Thank you, Kevin. One moment. Damn it. Not sure this Rossman guy is, but when are you going to take your stream back? This is not Mr. Clinton's. One moment. Be right back. I am behind by 7 minutes. You and your screener go for sensational comments rather than comments in science. Who's my screener? There's a screener? I have a screener? It's hard for me to even tell what you're actually mad at. Okay, somebody's raging. I literally can't even tell what they're raging at. Okay, what's next? Have you ever been to South Carolina? $5 from Mr. Clinton. I've driven through South Carolina on my way to Florida. By prices, I mean, what's your take on CPR overpricing repairs compared to other shops? For example, we had a girl come with an iPhone Pro 11 Max. She had receipts totaling $300 for a screen. I mean, they're a franchise. There needs to be money there for more people than just those running that particular store. And I imagine that is going to result in higher prices. When you have a franchise business like that, you have a lot of people that are not doing the repairs or dealing with customers or dealing with the day-to-day operations of the business that need their salary to be paid. And I don't know how you would pay their salary unless you either have a bunch more business or B, charge people more money. Why would you accept getting your papers checked in your own country? I don't. If somebody asks me for my vaccine card to get into a place, I just find someplace else. Like, I got vaccinated, but I just don't. It's honestly helped me not waste money at restaurants. There are a lot of times where I don't need to go to a fucking restaurant. I mean, I know what I should do. Go to the bodega, spend $7 or $8, get a nutritious lunch that I can eat half of now and then half of later for dinner. So I'm eating for $7 or $8. But like sometimes I'll get lazy and I'll go to a restaurant and spend $20 or $30 when I probably shouldn't be doing that anyway. So one of the rules that I made for myself is that I'm not going to go to places that ask for my vaccine card. And one of the things that I did, one of the big drivers behind me wanting to do that was the recognition that I shouldn't be wasting money eating out to begin with. Like, I really shouldn't be doing that. And it's a check on it. 'Cause, there was a time where I knew I was probably going to wind up spending $27 in lunch. I didn't go I wound up leaving and I walked over to the deli and I spent about $8. I ate half of it at work and the other half of it at home. Like, it's not even about making a statement on the vaccine. Probably, honestly, about 75% of what was behind that decision was just to not waste money on bullshit. What protections can be placed on the right to repair to make sure it can never be undone by government, lobby, Apple, or other lobbyists? The protection that can be placed to make sure it will never be undone is to make it a cultural norm. Make it something that is accepted in all corners of the culture. Like, it doesn't matter who's in government. You're never going to bring something like slavery back because it's just seen as so vile and disgusting by so many people. There are certain things that you can't just pass a law or you can't just reverse just because, this party gets into power kind of thing. The way to really ensure it is to make sure that it becomes something that's culturally ingrained, not just legally ingrained. Please stop playing MOBAs. They'll rot your brain. Oh, my brain was already rotted, man. You could tell that from my gameplay. My brain is already rotted. I suck at... I was really good at Dota back in 2006. I think I peaked at 2006. In 2010, I wasn't really that good because I had spent 4 years not playing games at all when I got busy with stuff, and then I tried to get in 2015 and I was total shit and I just never recovered. Could you move the mic away? We could hear chewing. Huh. No. I mean, I guess you could still... what I need to do is I just need to stop making noises. As Riley from LTT said, Lewis is the president of the United States. Oh, hell no. Okay, now you make me want to watch that Linus video to figure out what the fuck they said. Thoughts on Donald Trump? I don't have any. He's gone now. He had his trolling time in the sunlight. His time for trolling is gone. It is no longer Christmas on the East Coast. Lies. It's always Christmas. If you want to live in Florida, I could probably suggest somewhere like Tampa. Can live in St. Pete for cheaper, decent foot traffic, and transportation is an ass. I like Fios, Ricardo G. I went through St. Petersburg, and I honestly thought it was a dump. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm honest with my neighborhood that I live in right now. Like, I mean, I feel okay. I feel empowered to call places that I think are not that great a dump because I don't think I will ever be as hard on someplace else as I have been on my own homeland. But I remember all these people telling me you have to go through St. Petersburg. It's so amazing. And I remember just like going there and driving to that neighborhood and thinking, expecting to see the Renaissance. And it just looked like a bunch of low-end stores and pawn shops and other rundown-looking places. There was nothing about St. Petersburg that looked that special to me. There was nothing about it that seemed that exciting. It just seemed like your average run-of-the-mill, mediocre to neighborhood. Like there was nothing about. I don't understand why so many people are so excited about that area. This is for the street permit, so you can repair Apple MacBooks from the in front of the Fifth Avenue Apple Store. I don't know whatever happened about that idea. Maybe you meant when you criticized Apple soldering RAM onto the motherboard to prevent users from servicing or upgrading RAM. I don't know. I'll never know. If he clarifies or gives context to it, then sure. Will you run for president? Fuck no. I don't want to run a country. I can barely run a company. You kidding me? There's a lot more to Southeast Florida than Miami, just 15 miles from downtown Miami. You fell for a tourist trap. No, I didn't. I specifically wanted to see what that area was like, so I went there and I filmed it. I didn't actually get a hotel in downtown Miami. But I was very curious to see what I could find. I wanted to see if that part had all the same issues as New York. Oreo, do not touch the microphone, you little Oreo. Why are the vaccinated worried about those who are non-vac? You need a mixed-use residential, retail, warehouse space with hotel accommodations for interns and training high-dollar guests. Rossman Disney. I don't want to have interns, to be honest with you. I really don't have a desire for interns. Rossman Disney sounds interesting. Why are the vaccinated worried about those who are not vaccinated? I believe the worry is that if you are vaccinated and other people are not vaccinated, that there is the possibility of new variants. The likelihood of new variants is then higher, and those variants may be variants that are that will cut through the vaccine, which means that your vaccine is then useless until they make a new one. Sorry to hear about your Framework laptop. Wondering if you got to take a look at the Mount Framework laptop. Mount Reform. I've never heard of Mount Reform before. I don't know what Mount Reform is. What is Mount Reform laptop? A ready to go open hardware Mount Reform laptop. That's an interesting little brick. I go to a place regularly and they no longer ask to see my Vax record. Huh. Is there a fix for a phone that reboots for no reason? Maybe, but I mean, there's not going to be a fix in terms of, yes, replace capacitor 5. It's going to be a fix as in maybe the CPU needs to be reballed, maybe there's random water damage, maybe there's a component attached to it that's bad. Best of luck figuring it out. And if you have a phone that is worth $100 in the used market, you bet your ass that unless it's for data recovery, there's no way in hell that figuring out what is wrong with it is something that's going to be economically viable for somebody to do if they're doing it for a living. What advice would you give someone starting to learn micro soldering? I would say practice, 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 and find old stuff to practice on. You don't have to practice on new stuff. You can practice on an Acer 5517. This way, if you fuck it up, you won't feel bad. One of the things you should probably do is give yourself little assignments. Like, I will take this component from this working 5517, and then I will take it and put it on this other working 5517. And if it still works, I will consider that an accomplishment. I do not answer people who call me that. And it is a lovely address. I visited it once. Probably battery needs to be reseated. What? Battery receipt for something that randomly crashes? Where the Oh my god. Don't give people advice that doesn't make any sense. Please don't make advice that makes no sense. Do you think DeSantis would make a good president? Oh, who the fuck knows? I have no idea. I think he has a chance of being elected. I think he speaks to people that don't like Joe Biden. But I have no idea if he'd make a good president or not. Check out Clearwater north of Tampa. Too much Scientology. Scary. I'm getting started something in Italy about right to repair. Do you want to take a look at what I'm doing? I mean, sure, go for it. I don't know what it is I'd have to offer you. Oreos, stop that. Junk man, you don't even know what those words mean. What's your opinion on phone repair? That's like saying, what's your opinion on gravity? Like, love your channel. I want to get a cat that is cuddly like Oreo. Any advice on how to pick the right cat? I always get the free cats, like Craigslist cat or kitty that walks up to me on the street. Don't overpay for a cat. Honestly, don't even pay for a cat. That's my advice. Because this way, if you have a cat that's not cuddly, then if you paid $900 for a cat, then you're going to stick with the cat even if it's an asshole because of the sunken cost fallacy. But if you didn't pay for the kitty, it's different. I need to replace the backplate, battery, and USB-C connector on my phone for about $50 if I do it myself versus $97 for a used one. Yeah, like in that case, there's a good chance that I would probably buy the used one. Here's a little more for you. Show my first 20 message. Exposure is everything, and being in Iowa, I am of no threat. Yes, we have more than cornfields. I don't know how to show your first $20 message. I don't know if you were watching earlier, but YouTube's new studio setup doesn't allow me to scroll to older messages. I went over that with somebody who gave a donation and then asked me to read a certain part of it that I didn't read, and then I went to scroll to find it, and I wasn't able to find it because it actually doesn't list older ones anymore in the newer YouTube Studio app. So if you tell me what you said, I can read it. If you don't tell me what you said, then I cannot psychically go back in time and find it. Do you suggest buying equipment before paying for any training? Or does it matter? I think that if you are going to get trained on how to use equipment, that you should have that equipment, be basically familiar with that equipment before you go to a course, and have messed with it a little bit before you go to a course. Don't have your first time ever soldering be paying for a course. Merry Christmas and moi to you and Oreo. Thank you. But yeah, I'm sorry. The YouTube system for going over old things sucks. Like, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you, but I have no way to go back and find it. Yeah, if it was $50 to fix my phone and it was going to be a pain in the ass and shit is glued together, or $97 for a used one, I probably would go for the $97 for the used one. And like, I'm not somebody who fixes everything regardless of the circumstances. I'm somebody that fixes things when it makes sense in context of my time or the economic viability of it. Just want to see if you can handle my name. Benoit Gerard. Benoit Gerard. Benoit Gerard. Benoit Gerard? Huh. Maybe. When making a video, how do you ensure the information is accurate and not false? I typically ask my cat. Also, hope your holidays have been well for you. Congratulations on the apartment. Sometimes I get stuff wrong. Like the Henrik Husby case, I got horribly wrong. I didn't have a way to know exactly what the court case was. It sounded like a case that would be real, and it was covered in the media and by Vice and everybody else in a certain way. But at the end of the day, you needed access to the court documents to know what was going on with it. And I was wrong. I had to go back. I had to make a retraction video. I had to make several videos going over that, and I did a video calling out Vice for never responding to any of the messages I sent them about how the original piece was incorrect. It was how journalists lose the trust of their readers. I get shit wrong. It's just, when you get shit wrong, you upload a new video, you explain what happened, you explain why you got it wrong. I feel like shit when that happens, though. Avoid Clearwater at all costs. I lived there for a short time. What's your reason, Stevens? Mine is Scientology, but I'm curious what yours is. What program language do you think is good to learn? I have no idea. I don't know how to program for shit. What's your opinion on blue sky? I like blue skies. What's your opinion on paying for cats? Cats are free. Do you read the chit chat as well? Nope, never. Never. Not even once. I pretend they don't exist. Steve Burke mentioned that in his video today about recycling, the Rossman it's too much time to fix estimate. Garages on the moves, new adventures. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, I mean, I don't fix everything, and that really kind of disappoints people because they think, what about, I thought you're the right to repair guy. So yeah, the right, not the fucking, requirement. It's not the mandate to repair. It's not the fucking de Blasio, the voluntary period is over, now you must repair guy. I fix things if it makes sense. It doesn't always make sense. It makes sense if I feel like doing it. Again, there are boards where I fixed them where it obviously would have made sense to just replace it. But that was because I wanted to have fun on camera. I just got curious that day and I wanted to let's run 40 wires in this just for the fucking hell of it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to want to, go through layers of glue and shit like that when it costs an additional $10 to get a new one. What's something that makes you genuinely happy? Happy holidays. Fan spin. It used to be. I think I've kind of outgrown fan spin as something that makes me happy. I think what makes me genuinely happy is seeing this little kitty here when he's smiling. Look at this little kitty. Look at how happy he is. Look at him. When I start tapping his head like this, he actually curled up and he started going closer to me. Look at him. He's such a loving creature. He's such a good little Oreo. Look at this good little Oreo. My life is a mess. After business school, I decided to go in a tech to program, but after trying to learn, I kept failing. Now I don't know what to do. What do I do? I kept failing when it came to programming too. Like that, don't do something just because you're told it's the thing that you should do to make money. Do something where your skills align with your purpose. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but I tried programming numerous times. It just wasn't what I was supposed to do. It wasn't, where I was going to make my mark in the world. And I think I think I knew that. And I think I knew that I was needed elsewhere. And it's just one of the reasons why I never really got. It's okay, Oreo. I'm sorry. Come here, boy. You should make a book detailing your experience with all the people that have angered you from Erica, Yelp, Joshua, USPS, Eugene. I'm sure it would sell like hotcakes. I sincerely doubt it. I'm not a good writer. I don't think I would be. Where's Blackberry? I have no idea. She never comes up here. She's she's very shy when it comes to the camera. Don't eat the microphone, Oreo. I mean, I think that video is my medium, not a book. Oreo, stop it. Oreo, do not hit the microphone. Bad Oreo. Bad Oreo. My kitty is happy, isn't he? Show Dean how happy you are. My kitty loves me. Look at this little kitty. Look at how adorable he is. He's adorable. Ever going to be a guest on Joe Rogan Experience? I had emailed, I think, in 2018, 2019, and 2020. I'm not going to spam somebody, you know. You might have outgrown fanspin. Now he's sharing the joy with the world. I love how happy Tech Jesus looked when you profess fanspin him. Yeah, he seemed to enjoy. He really thought he was going to fuck the board up horribly. I feel like Steve had no faith in himself when it came to soldering on a motherboard and fixing it. And he's like, this isn't a customer's, right? And I said, yeah, it's a customer. He's like, I probably shouldn't work in a customer thing. And it was an 820-3437 board. Those things are like $100. If Steve breaks a 100, actually no, it's like a $200 board. If he broke a $200 board, I would have just bought the customer a new fucking board. But also I was confident that there was nothing that he could break that I couldn't fix. Also, that was not one of those boards that contains data. If that was a board that contained data, then no, I'm not letting him near it when he has no experience. But it wasn't a board that contained data. The worst thing that he could possibly do is cost me $150. And I knew that he would be able to do it. And he didn't do a bad job. You know, he learned how to use the hot air pretty well. He caught on pretty quickly. And I'm sure I'll get better at it in the future. Yeah, I was happy to see his enthusiasm. Do you think it's a bad move to work min wage for 3 months or less? I sometimes feel bad for the business, but it's min wage. Who cares? They can find someone else easily. What do you mean bad move to work minimum wage for 3 months or less? I don't know what you mean by bad move. Do you have a better option? If you don't have a better option, then do that. Or if you do have a better option, but you're going to learn something at this minimum wage job that you're not going to learn at the other thing, and then that's going to help you start your own business someday, then do that. If not, then do something else. Who's my little Oreo? You're my little Oreo. You're my little Oreo. You're my little Oreo. Who's my little Oreo? How much did you cringe when Hardware Jesus told you his only soldering experience of putting shunt resistors on GPUs? I don't use the word cringe. That's a word that children use. I don't use the word cringe. Can you learn micro soldering through online courses, i.e. Rewo Academy? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, this is probably an area where Jesse Cruz and I would disagree intensely. Jesse Cruz said, and I respect Jesse Cruz. I respect his abilities, and I respect his knowledge, and I respect his business. It's impossible actually. Total Electronic Solutions is the name of my new side gig after 23 years of doing it. Bless you and all that you have do, sir. They censored my last 3. Thank you, Brandon. I'm glad that you got a new side gig, and I hope you make a fuck ton of money at it. So Jesse has said that it's easy to teach soldering online. I think it's hell. For me, it's hell. And if he's able to do it, great. I fucking hate it. I believe in it in person. In terms of soldering courses, don't fucking pay someone to show you how to. Don't pay for a fucking video showing you how to solder something. Like, if you want to pay for instruction. Pay for somebody, even if it's online, if it's instruction. Like Jesse, a lesson with Jesse where he sees what you are doing. He sees what you're doing wrong. He has a camera over your shoulder, a camera in your microscope, and then is showing you what to do. Don't pay for a fucking video showing you how to solder. Because there is so much of that shit for free that paying for it, in my opinion, is just fucking horrible. Like, don't. I feel they came to me 2 years ago and they asked, like, they wanted to try and collaborate in some way, and they asked for advice on this, and they said, so this is Rewa. They wanted advice on how to sell a course, And I said, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's 2019. Who the fuck pays for video files? Even if you could charge for a video file, it's eventually going to get shared and wind up on every FTP server where they get... You realize that you deal with an industry where people are regularly sharing schematics that are made by Apple, right? So if they're going to take Apple's intellectual property and pirate it, then why the fuck wouldn't they do that to yours, you know? You handle my name pretty well. You've done a video repairing your audio amplifier, and I can't find it. You have a link to the name of that video. I think it was a Parasound, and I probably deleted the video because it was so fucking embarrassing how bad a job I did on that entire video. I think it was a Parasound HCA 1000A repair. That thing is long gone now. Hello, Oreo. I love your real estate content. What do you think about the last-minute rezonings that have occurred in the city? I don't know anything about the last-minute rezonings that have occurred in the city. If you email me a link, lewis@rossmangroup.com, I will take a look at it, but I don't know a damn thing about it. Oreo? You do not want to see a city bike designed by me, Billy. You don't, like... You can teach yourself how to do anything. You just got to believe in yourself and look for the data online. Been self-taught since I was 12. I agree, and there's a lot of stuff. Why won't you answer my question? Because you've been complaining the entire stream, Stephen, and also you didn't ask the question until now. But when you... like, my thoughts on a fucking telescope? I don't know jack shit about telescopes. I don't know. I don't know anything about telescopes. Like, so why are you asking me about a telescope? I fix MacBooks. Thank you, Joshua Spencer. Oreo. At the age of 26, he convinced me to take the plunge and start my own business. It's been hard work, but it's been... Oreo, stop that with the... Oreo? Don't touch the microphone. It's been hard work, but the most rewarding thing ever. You're a gem. A voice of reason and heck... thank you very much, Blackplate Productions. I wish you the best of luck with your business. RIP AT4050. Check out Aston. Owned by former SE Electronics owner. Really cool design aspects and sound fantastic. Love your work. Keep it up. I miss my AT4050. At some point I'll replace it, but I'm a cheapskate. I find it very difficult to justify investing in myself or any of my own items. Kazmij, mind your business. And why are there so many marriage propagandists in my chat? Like, there are so many people that just like that are so obsessed over other people getting married. Go away. Shoo. I broke my parents' computer when I was 12. I had to fix it before they got home. So I pulled out the owner's manual. When did the owner's how long ago was it the owner's manual actually had something useful in it, like a schematic or a wiring diagram that you could use to fix it? Do you still repair MacBook Pro mid-2012? Yes and no. It depends on your problem with it. Some problems I do fix, some problems I don't, based on the availability of parts and the economic viability of the repair. So you need more information to be able to answer that question. Moved to North Florida, Jacksonville area. It's an emerging town of Florida where real estate isn't insane like Orlando, Tampa, and South Florida. Matthew Carvin says he refused to offer me a franchise. I don't have a franchise. It's like going to me for a franchise is like going to a pizzeria to buy escargot. It's not something that's offered. Rossman Hell's Soldering Kitchen. Who can solder the nanos in under 90 seconds? Find out after the PCB way break. Treat yourself, Oreo, and Mr. Clinton. Thank you, Blackplate. What do you drive your Vandersteens with? A Rotel RB1090, which is just sheer nonsensical dick-waving overkill. I love my Rotel RB1090. It has wheels on it. It's an amplifier that actually has fucking wheels on it. I carried that piece of shit up the stairs. It has no handles, and it's over 100 pounds. That was something else. Merry Christmas, Lewis Bliss Chat. Do you have any advice for audio for live streaming on a budget under $100? Buy a used Audio-Technica 2020. A used Audio-Technica 2020 USB microphone. You're not going to be able to get anything but used for that price. Have you thought of using a face microphone, Lewis? Maybe. But then I have to use my Zoom audio interface because this has an XLR in, but it doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter input. Or I'd have to get some sort of dongle. The reason I pull out the owner's manual is because it was Windows 95 and dial-up internet. I bet you remember how god-awful painful that was. I'm just not used to the owner's manual ever being useful for most of my products. Erica will laugh at me for not reading the manual, but so much of the time, the manual is useless. It just doesn't have the information that I want or need. Oreo, I'm not feeding you. I'm not feeding you. You can do all the nuzzling on my microphone that you want. That's all. You can do all the nuzzling you want. You're not getting any more cans of food. It's not happening. You're going to get pets. You get pets, but no more food. He wants food so badly. This cat is so fat. He eats all the time. He's an actual fat bastard. He's a fat bastard. We are all lemmings. That's probably a no. Okay, see, here's the problem with this question. If I come to the store with my broken car radio with all the replacement parts and explain exactly what needs to be done to fix it, would you be able to service it? I've tried fixing it, but no luck. So, okay, if you knew exactly what needed to be done to fix it, you probably would have fixed it. When you say, I've tried fixing it, but no luck, what that tells me is that when you tell me you need to replace this, that you know as little about how to fix your car radio as I do, because I don't fix car radios. 99% of the time when somebody comes to the store and they say, I just need you to fix this one thing, and they point to it, they point to the wrong thing. Like almost every single time. And like there's a fundamental principle behind this, which is if the thing that you were pointing to were the actual thing that you needed fixed, then you would have done it yourself. The reason you're bringing it here is because you know that that's not what it is. You know that's not what it is. If that's what it was, you would have done it. So it's a trap. Thoughts on crypto. Consensual Ponzi scheme. My intern used to accuse me of not caring about others because I didn't wear a mask. She got all the shots and boosters. She just got the Rona. Well, the whole idea with wearing a mask is that it limits your opportunities to spread it to other people. Wearing a mask does not guarantee that you're not going to get corona. It just lowers your likelihood of spreading it to other people. So she could have been wearing a mask and been around a bunch of people that were not wearing a mask and had it spread. So like her premise there, even if the way that she vocalized it to you wasn't the nicest, is still correct. And you laughing at somebody for getting corona makes you an absolute piece of shit cunt as an employer. And I hope your business goes under, Ken Mason. That's just a shitty thing to say. Like you're literally laughing at the fact that your intern got sick. You're a piece of shit human being, and I hope you go out of business. Is at Charles Edward Shees any love you want to send my wife? Will be glad to appreciated it, and cheese? Huh? Sorry, I was too busy raging at Ken Mason for being a piece of shit business owner. And he is a piece of shit business owner. He's bragging about what a piece of shit he is. What do you think about the Tesla holiday update? I don't really follow their updates because I don't assume that I don't follow Tesla car updates very much. What was in the holiday update? Is Charles Edward Cheese any love you want to send my wife? Will be glad to appreciate it, and not taken for granted. That was insane to see. Charles Edward Cheese? Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I've read that 3 times and I've been trying to process it, but I can't process it or figure out what it means. Many can use a multimeter but not have the skills to fix it, so they bring it to you. Yeah, but that's the thing. When they said, I'll show you exactly what needs to be done. Like what you do is you say, hey, this is the problem I'm having. Can you fix it? You don't say, this is the problem I'm having. I know that you just need to replace this one transistor. So just replace this one transistor. And don't you dare bill me for doing anything other than replacing this one transistor. And I know that should only be $20 because that transistor is $10 in mouse. No. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that customer. Fuck that entirety. Fuck that entirely. If somebody take my money and feed that cat, you're not getting fed. You've had 3 cans of food today, Oreo. Stop nuzzling me. No more. No more food. No. If somebody comes to my store and says my multimeter is not working, here's the problem it's having, can you fix it? We can have a conversation. If somebody says that my multimeter is not working and I know it's just this one component, so just replace this one chip and do it for $5, they can go take a long walk off a short pier. They do not have the skills to fix it, so they bring it to you. Yes, that's totally fine. It's when somebody doesn't have the skills to do it, so they bring it to me, but then they tell me how I'm supposed to do my job, that I wind up sending them packing. Good Lord, I did voice to text in my last message. Made no sense. It was a reference to the guy that tipped you $500 and not to my wife. Oh. I'm still somewhat confused. But yeah, I use voice to text a lot too. I've had those mistakes. I'm trying to fix my car horn recently. I had to bring it to a mechanic because I simply do not have the tools to get past the anti-tempers. You still recommend the ThinkPad P50? It's not bad. That's the guy that donated 500, Lewis. I'm confused. What is your experience with HP laptops? Everything but the ProBook is kind of a piece of shit in my opinion. The ProBook, the business line was kind of decent. The rest of them are shit. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. You're always going to have an armchair mechanic telling you how to do your job. Yep. And that you just send them on their way. You're telling me when you were 12 years old, you just inherently knew how to fix them. How does a child know the CMOS jumper fix? No, it's just I never expected that I would actually learn in the manual. I didn't know how to fix it, but the manual didn't give me any information that actually would help me figure out the cause to my problem. The manual just tells me safety information in 50 different manuals. The manual tells me, like, here's how to turn it on, here's how to turn it off, here's how to plug in the power. But like the manual doesn't tell me anything useful for 99% of my products. It doesn't tell me what I don't already know. And the questions I actually haven't had to use the product, Brandon, they're not questions that are ever answered by the manual. That's what frustrates me about the manual. If you had the money, would you ever want to be a property owner in Manhattan? Nope. Nope. That's an easy nope. They hate property owners here. One driver of New York City housing cost insanity is the number of units left empty and used solely as investment line items with percent gain. Your thoughts on this? I don't know about housing. I know that for retail, but I don't know about that for housing. I remember reading some report that was talking about the number of apartments that were kept empty, but a lot of them, what they were claiming were, quote, kept empty, were not actually kept empty. Some of them were apartments that people had that they would stay in 6 months out of the year. I'm not saying that's great, but that added to it. Another percentage of it were units that were owned by landlords that were ridiculously old, that just weren't managing them very well because they were in their 80s or 90s. Some of them were apartments where maintenance was being done, so that's why there was nobody in there, because there was maintenance. But yeah, I don't have specifics anymore. The last time I read on this was like 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, no, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I remember reading about it. I was having a debate with a friend of mine, and he brought up the number, so I decided to look into it to try and figure out what the number was. And of the 150,000, it was closer to like 30. How realistic, easy is it to gain the skills to run some sort of electronics repair business by working for other people? It's very realistic if you work for a place that is actually open to sharing that information with you. But more importantly, you need to really take on the type of mindset that you would have if you were trying to become an audio engineer by being an intern in the 80s. So if you look at the mindset that was necessary to become a really good top of your craft recording engineer in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, The type of mindset you had to have as an intern in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to be a good recording studio intern is the mindset you're going to have with the people that you're working with at the repair shop you choose to work at if you're going to learn. They're not just going to take the information and shove it into your head. How billions of profits play into the vaccine effort? I don't know. I think you're looking for me to insert conspiracy theory here, and I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a dispensary for conspiracies based on like I don't know. I don't work in the pharmaceutical industry. It feels like what you're asking for is a low information conspiracy theory from somebody that doesn't work in the pharmaceutical industry. I don't really have one for you. I like the M1. I mean, I wish it was more repairable, and I wish it wasn't from Apple, but it's very fucking powerful and very efficient hardware. Like, Intel really has to get off their ass. Intel's getting their ass handed to them, and they're going to wind up becoming irrelevant if they don't wind up catching up to everybody else. I don't mean to tell you to do your job. I just know that you don't service radios and thought it'd help. I can see the exploded capacitor. Try a place on Canal Street called 47 Canal Street. They actually do professional repair on audio equipment, which I don't. And they also have all the stuff there. So for We Are All Lemmings, it's a guy named Frank Farouk on 47 Canal Street. They do a very good job at old radio and repair and stuff like that. For me, I just don't fix radios. So I have no idea how to fix radios. On a scale of 1 to mafia, how corrupt is the NYPD? I don't know. I don't really deal with the NYPD, so I don't really know. Also, my apologies if I came off as an asshole, Lemmings. I'm just used to customers that tell me that all the time, and they have the most condescending voice while they do it, and it triggers the fuck out of me. And you weren't trying to trigger the fuck out of me. I get it. I got triggered like crazy because of just it was PTSD from asshole customers from the East Village. FA's remote ID, flying a .55 pound RC aircraft as a... See, that's why you don't put a book in that comment. Because I can... One sec, let me see. There's a way I can rewind it and read that. You're limited. You shouldn't put a comment that's 4 lines in there. Because if you do, it's like... I'm not going to be able to read it all before it goes off the screen. Let's find that. Where was that? FAA remote ID. One sec. Let me move my windows around so I can... Anyone near can tell you're flying, could track it. It ain't cheap, and no real criminal will use it anyway. Feels like question, what habit real? Flying .55 pound RC aircraft has to broadcast location and ID. Anyone near you can tell you're flying it and can track you. Well, they can track the aircraft, not you. If they can track the aircraft, I'd understand it. I can understand them. I think there's a difference between tracking a drone that you're flying and them actually tracking you as a human being. Mm-hmm. Hi, Lois. I'm getting something started in Italy about right to repair. Do you want to take a look at what I'm doing? You've pasted that 3 times, Danielle, but you've never shown me what you're doing, so I don't know. There's not much I can do here. I also already answered you when you asked it the first time. If you don't want to show me what you're doing, then I'm never going to see it. You can either show me what you're doing, or you can keep copying and pasting that shit. Daniel Kelker, are you Jewish? I can't keep answering that fucking question. Go away. I've answered that question 3 times this stream. At this point, you're just trolling me. Get the fuck out of here. That's next. Thank you for putting real stuff out there. Ham radio operator and right to repair has been a huge issue. Huh. Found your kitty over your left shoulder. That's Blackberry up there? Oh shit, that is Blackberry up there. Oh, look at that Blackberry. She's right up there. Why do companies not realize it's good for them to make things more repairable? I think because they see the short-term potential loss in revenue. You have a humongous trouser snake. I have a humongous lap kitty. Will NVIDIA stay on the throne of GPUs? I think for a while. Which makes me sad because they're assholes when it comes to Linux. Lewis from Pakistan, do you think higher education master's degree is viable in this time? Many people in our country think a degree will change their life. I don't know what you mean by viable. I guess it depends what you get your master's degree in. Are you getting your master's degree in some kind of useful engineering field, or are you getting your master's degree in useless selective shit? I sent you an email in the past, but I never heard from you. I have the hands to get documentation to want my minister to get a law about it. I don't know anything about Italian politics. I'll be honest with you. I would just go ahead with whatever you're doing. Again, I don't know I think people think that I'm going to be a lot more helpful than I actually have the ability to be. I'm not a legislator. I'm not a politician. I'm a dude that yells on YouTube about what he believes in. Like, if you have a chance to try and get a law on right to repair, then like in your area, then go for it. But I don't know what I would be able to contribute to you. Have you answered any questions on New York Bill A416? When I looked at that did not seem like it was actually going anywhere. Like, this bill literally seems like it's just... Yeah, current bill status. So where is this? Like, this bill seems like it has not gone anywhere. What brand of printers do you recommend for a college student? Buy a used Brother. What's your experience in the housing market so far? I'm kind of curious since the housing market over in Canada is crazy. My experience is that it's been crazy, and I kind of agree with the whole Dave Ramsey approach of if you find yourself offering, $75,000 over asking on something, go take a cold shower and realize you don't need it. That wasn't the one for you. I would get a used Brother printer. Has Apple ever contacted you personally about any feedback? No, that's not going to happen in this timeline. It would be interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen in this timeline. What do you think is the most important thing to teach young adults to get them to care about the average person when they become legislators? I think people do care about them as they're becoming legislators, and then they get lost after they become one. I was looking at feedback from your shop. Then send them over. Lewis at fighttorepair.org. What brand of printers do you recommend for a college student? I got a $175 settlement for an Apple MacBook Pro 2011 GPU failure. Class action. Got the check on the 24th. Well, look at that. You bought a $2,000 computer that wound up being a piece of shit, and you got $175 back. And the lawyers probably all got rich. Look at that. Glad to see the Canadian legal system works as well as the American one. We need to design a social media app specifically for people such as our fellow electronics repair brethren. I mean, you have Library and you have Odyssey and you have YouTube. Used old stuff, Kenny Clover. Kenny Clever, old used stuff. Cheap laser printer for college student, don't waste time with inkjets. Yeah, you can get a good used Brother laser for $50. Inkjets are a scam. There's no need for you to have an inkjet printer if you're just, doing basic stuff. You're gonna waste so much money on ink. What should I name my new cat? Name him ThinkPad. It's mostly a consensual Ponzi scheme, 0 phases. Did that in 2018, got burned, never again. The best part about investing in crypto is when you invest in a coin and all of the website exchanges that used to accept that coin no longer do, so you have something that you literally can't even sell anymore. Or when you have a coin, but then you send it to that particular wallet again and it doesn't show up, and the administrator of that site, like KuCoin, says, give us $30 and we'll figure out what happened, and then they don't respond to you for 9 months. It's too volatile. It's like, you see something like Bitcoin go from 3,000 to 60,000. Like, I don't invest in stuff after it does this. I don't invest in things after they GameStop, Like, I don't buy GameStop at $400. Putting more thought into moving to New Hampshire. I have put thought into it, masshole. I have. I rented an apartment there so that I can kind of get an idea for the place. Charles Edward Cheese, the man, the myth, the legend, has spoken again. Good Lord, who is this dude? What is Charles Edward Cheese? Danielle, don't make an English version of it just for me, because I'm going to feel bad if I don't make time to read it. Because you sent me an email and you said I didn't read it. Or I didn't respond. And I'm wondering what the reason was that I didn't respond, and if there was a good reason that's going to cause me to not respond again. So, like, don't translate something just on my account. I'm going to feel like an asshole if you do all that work for nothing. Bitcoin is overvalued right now. But that's the thing. Like, I don't believe in Bitcoin having value. It's just, like, how do you value a fucking ethereal thing that doesn't exist? Like, I get an idea on how you value a company, how you value a commodity, but like how you value like some random ass string of ones and zeros. Remote ID requires live aircraft position velocity, but also broadcast takeoff information. So your start. Can we stop with the 4-line messages, please? Can we stop with that shit? Keep it. Like, don't make them a book. I got to figure out how to limit that thing. If somebody knows how to make a character limit on that, we can't, that can't be a book. Because by the time it's off the screen, I don't have time to read it unless I'm not that dude from the pill commercial that's like, may cause irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, constipation, and stress and anxiety. Like, I can't read at that speed. It's funny because you can fly real planes below 254 pounds with no license and any of that crap. Long again. Yes, long again. Stop with that. But thank you. I appreciate it. But no long. Make them readable. Let's see. Words, and some more words. Yes, Campbell. I guess with the dollar, what you're doing is you're making a bet on the United States economy as a whole. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a fucking idea how you value that either. But at the very least, there's like some sort of system that can be used to try and value what you think the value of the United States economy is. How like Bitcoin? I mean, what is it that you're actually attempting to even value? What are you attempting to measure? Like, I don't even know if most people even know what they're measuring. It's just a bunch of FOMO on top of FOMO on top of FOMO. I don't know how to measure FOMO. I moved to Brooklyn from Los Angeles. What is the one piece of advice for a New Yorker? Thanks for all the videos. Go someplace else. Yo, that's what I would say. Like L.A., Brooklyn, find someplace more. I don't know. I genuinely don't understand why people move here. Like, again, I grew up here. My family was here. I started a business here because I had a job here and I had a place to live here. But that was it. I don't know what the fuck people move here for. I mean, I guess I understood in the past, like that whole moving here for the opportunity thing, but I have no idea what people are moving here for now, like in 2021. What should I do if I don't have a life? Serious question. Find one. You know, there's always something to do. There's some purpose. You got to find a purpose for yourself. I can't do that for you. I could barely do that for myself. What are your thoughts on screwdrivers? They screw. Sometimes they fuck. I am the very model of a modern major general. I've information, vegetable, animal. In mineral, I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical from Marathon of Waterloo and order categorical. I'm very well acquainted, too, with matters mathematical. That's some good copy pasta right there. That's some quality copy pasta. Reread my comments as dead privacy. No. I protest you. I'm not rereading it. No. If you want me to read something, you post it. What's up's opinion anti-crypto propaganda about it polluting more than other things? I mean, that's true. Like, there's a bunch of pollution so that you could, I mean, the thing is, what are the CPU cycles being used for? You're using the CPU cycles to get random strings that represent money. That's fundamentally wasteful. You know what really makes me sad is that with all is that transferring money using a Visa card in 1997 with a Pentium 1 and dial-up is actually faster than transferring money via Bitcoin with a quad-core Xeon and Fios in 2021. That's the fucking sad part. It's actually faster to transfer money using Visa in 1997 using shitty technology than it is in 2021 to transfer money via Bitcoin. No, Wayne's World. No. When Ru Gona Jitifo, New York City. Oh my God, Joey. Holy shit, put down the drugs. Nobody should ever type like that. Okay, time to go. See y'all later.